Hello everyone, it's Christine here and I'm back with my Roxy Journal of Stitchery piece, my beautiful huge blanket which is covered with lace and which I'm adding special pieces to remember all the people in my life. And so today we are working on a special piece which is for my grandpa on my dad's side, and it's also a piece that's really significant given today is Remembrance Day. So when I'm filming this it's the 11th of November. And it's Remembrance Day here in Australia, which recognises and commemorates the end of World War I hostilities on the 11th of November 1918. And so we wear poppies to commemorate the day, and I want to incorporate a poppy into my piece, and it's a little activity which I will share with you, because that way if you want to make poppies, or you can use it to make other flowers like daisies or other things, you can maybe incorporate one of those into your stitchery projects as well. So what I've got here is some of the pieces that I'm thinking I'll bring together into the little vignette for my grandpa on my dad's side. So this came off a sample of fabric. This little border goes with it as well. So I've cut those out. And then this piece was also on that same fabric as well. Now, we'll come to this in a moment. This is a little poppy that I have embroidered, and it's a stump work, I guess, because it stands up from the piece. So we'll come back to that in a moment. While we were driving today, we took Travis down to the beach, and Alex was driving, and I took along this little bookmark style doily, and I used some lovely embroidery, like a perle cotton, not too thick, but a nice thickness to it, and I embroidered some of the famous words from a poem that's repeated at memorial services that are held and remembrance services that are held today. And so, age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning we will remember them. So yeah, just really beautiful words, and for me it's also just remembering the damage of wars, and to the extent that all of us can, trying to prevent and avoid any of us having to live through wars. So, and then I've also created this piece, which I'd shown you previously, some of the buttons, and this is an Australian military forces button. It's quite old, I think, by the looks of it. I haven't tried to actually date that one, but that came out of Nana's buttons, so possibly it could have been from Grandpa on my mum's side. And then I've got some other little crest buttons. They're not necessarily, and I don't think they are necessarily Australian crests. I'm not sure what they are, but I just sort of incorporated those. I also put in the little, now I've forgotten their name again, the things that go over. My goodness, can't think of the names. You'll know cufflinks. There we go, the cufflinks. I've incorporated the little cufflinks here. And what I did with the buttons was I just put some ribbon, some organza ribbon through the shank of the button to make little bow shapes. Used a variety of different organza ribbons, and then just stitched those down at the back of where the buttons were, and just at the top and bottom if it needed it, like this one. And so, I worked all of this on a piece of hessian. This is actually some hessian that came from Christina Creates, one of my stitchy buddies, virtual buddies in Melbourne. Hopefully we get to meet next year in March when Christina's going to be up for the Roxy Girls workshop, and I'll be up for the Fleur workshop the following day. So looking forward to, meeting various folks at that workshop. So I've then just using some punch needle wool. I'm just having a look if I've got it. In fact, this is a funny one. Travis stole it the other day and started chewing on it. So it looks a little bit the worse for wear, but it still works fine. But I've stitched the name of my grandpa, so Reginald and Oakley. So I've stitched that into the into the hessian, and yeah, that will be the sort of centerpiece, but I'm planning to use these other elements around it. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is have the little quote piece down the bottom, and it will probably be a bit further along. I'm not going to stitch it down with you today, one, because it's a little bit tedious because of the thickness of the blanket, but also I think I'll have it further down because I'm thinking I'll put my Joie de Vivre piece up here. So something like that, so having the little poem down the bottom here. I'm thinking I'll end up cutting this into two, and what I'm thinking I will do is have one of the, not sure now, I'm actually just thinking, will I put the flower on this side maybe? And then whether I have one of the little sides of this, wouldn't be all the way over. Yeah, I might have a little poppy coming out down here, and then I might have one at the top as well. So I'll probably end up cutting this in half eventually, and then I might run that down this side underneath the hessian. So we're just getting some nice layering. And then yeah, it's whether I have the hessian above this or whether I sew this over the hessian. I'm not sure. I guess I can decide that at the end, but something like that. And then yeah, up the top, maybe having, and so yeah, I'd probably not have this come all the way down, possibly. Maybe like that. Or whether I have something like this come across. Yeah, and I think I'll leave the angular bit at the top, so yeah, I'll probably just have this come out. Come out something like that, or maybe even in a bit further. Maybe like that. Or I could have this coming this way. That could be lovely too. I've actually got another bit of this border as well, which is longer. But maybe I will do that. So that looks rather nice as well. So maybe I will let that come all the way down. And then I could just cut that off on a, maybe I'd even cut this off on an angle and have this just a little bit inset further down. So that's kind of my thinking. So at least you get a bit of an idea of that. But let's do some work to create another poppy. So I'm going to use, sorry, I'm just going to have to reach across. I'm going to use this variegated thread, but I'm not going to use the pinky section, so I'm going to put those aside to use elsewhere. What I want to get is some of the ready section of it. So I'll just take it off till I've got sort of as much as I want of the red. I don't mind if it goes a little bit pinky. Then I need to grab my needle, my nice big javelin of a needle, as Linda calls it. And thread my needle, put a knot in the end of it. And you might be thinking, why does she have some cotton buds with their ends chopped off? Or Q-tips, I think you call them in the US. Don't know what you call them in the UK. And then I'm going to, where do I want it? A little bit inset, so maybe about there. So I'm going to pop through, and I'm not expert at these, so if you want someone expert, I'm sure you'll be able to find yeah, maybe an even better tutorial, but I will do my best. So you're going to then bring your needle back, but you're going to leave it in the fabric. I'm then going to line up a cotton bud on either side of my needle, so the bottoms of where I've chopped off one end of the cotton buds are going to be sitting down against the fabric and either side of the needle. And then I'm going to start making loops where I cross it over and loop it over the the cotton buds and the needle and slide it down. That's 2. I think I'll do about 15. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I'm getting a bit caught on my needle. Hang on, let me just rearrange my cotton buds because they should sort of stop the either your fingers or the thread getting caught. What did I get up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. So you're crossing it over and then putting the loop over. 9. And then you're pulling it down and just holding it in place. 10. Oops. Now, I have seen people using a straw for this step as well. I haven't tried using a straw. This is just how I learnt it originally, so I just do it this way. 12. 13. 14. 15. Okay, so as you can see, you've got a little sort of fringy edge piece. Well, not fringy actually, like a braided, more a braided sort of edge effect. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to hold on to my little section. I'm going to extract out my cotton buds. Holding onto the little fringe section, I'm going to bring my needle through. I'm not going to unthread my needle. I'm going to hold on to it while I pull my thread through, and then I'm going to hold on to these little pieces as I position them and pull the thread, holding the edgy bits, and then you get your first little petal formation. And I'm going to just put a little stitch in at this end, just to anchor it down where I want it. So that's the first of the little petals. And then I will come up and do, I think, an overlapping one. So I'll come up part way towards the end of this one, and then I'll come round a bit, pop my needle back like this, take it so it's just up to the fabric, but leaving the eye on the other side of the stitch. Put my 2 little cotton buds in place, and then I'll start the process again. Oops. Hold that a bit better there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, I've unthreaded my needle, but that's okay. We can fix that up at the end. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'm going to make sure that's tight, and then I'm just going to rethread my needle while I hold on to all of that, and hopefully it's good having a big needle, big eye, makes it a bit easier. So then I'm going to remove my cotton buds, keep hold of my little section of knotted, well, not knotted, braided braided petally bit. Going to pull it through. I think I've got a little taily bit, but that's okay. We can just stitch that extra little taily bit under when we anchor it down. And then I'll anchor it down about there, I think. Hopefully I'm on camera, yep. So there's a tiny bit of extra little loopiness up there, but I'm going to just anchor that down with a stitch and it will not be a problem. Someone's riding a dirt bike past the house. It's a local kid that just loves going around the block on his dirt bike. Okay. So you get a really lovely raised effect and a really beautiful petal effect. So that's 2 of them done. On the other, I think I did 5. I think poppies can have anywhere between 4 and 6, I think, in general petals. But I just sort of do it till they look good, really. So I'll save this pinky bit for another day and another time of stitching. Cut it so it's a decent sized piece to use. And then I'll get some more of the red off. Sirens in the distance. Never happy when I hear sirens. Generally means something bad is happening somewhere. Okay, I always find it a bit tricky just to work out where to put my stitches, but I usually just overlap. I usually go back to partway along the previous petal and then I come a bit further around the circle, sort of the center circle. If you wanted to draw one, I'm sure you could draw one on to use to follow. Okay, so I've got that like that. Then we'll arrange our little cotton buds. And so that just helps to give the width of the petal. And I've seen some where people use more cotton buds even. But I think this is a pretty good size for this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is getting a bit loopy, a bit twisty, but that's okay. We'll just work through. 11. 12. 13. But yeah, it definitely helps having a longer piece of thread. 13, 14, 15. So that's that there. I'll just pull the end a bit. I'll remove my cotton buds and I will pull the needle through. It's a bit tight on the back, I think, because I'm trying to pull through another stitch possibly. It did feel a bit tight when I pushed it through in the first place. What's it catching on? Not sure. Oops, just slightly undone my little bundle, but I'm sure we'll be able to fix it up. Let's see how we go. At least if you see when that happens, then if it happens to you, you'll know that it's retrievable. And I just noticed I've got, I think some of my cotton bud has come off. It's funny, a bit of cotton bud got caught. So we just need to make sure this is sitting nicely. See if I can get it to straighten itself out a smidge. So I think it's twisted itself around a little bit. I think it's going to be all right. Just gives it a slightly more petally effect. Even where it's done that, it actually looks like just it's got 2 petals, which is absolutely fine. So I'm going to embrace that effect and not see it as an issue. And I'll just put a little holding stitch in here to just sort of get those 2 little petals that have come out of the one petal to sort of sit nicely. And then I'll just put 1 stitch in, I think over here, just to hold this little loopy bit down a bit. Yeah, happy with that. And then let's do I might actually tie that bit off because it does definitely work better if you've got a longer piece of thread. So I'll save that thread for another time. Okay, put that aside, and then we'll get ourselves another nice long bit of the red. So I've got another pinky bit. And then we'll take our red off. Okay. Now I'm looking to see where there's my needle. It's always a fun one where you've probably spotted my needle if it is in view and you're going, Christine, it's there. So we had a lovely morning down at Mount Martha Beach, and it was nice to be able to stitch my little piece while we're in the car. Probably it could have been neater, but I'm pretty happy with it for stitched writing. I did almost run out of room for them, but I think that's okay. So I will do my next one. Let's try and avoid that problem I had last time of getting it a bit difficult to get the needle through. So I might do the next one. Oh no, I think it can go over the other stitch. I think when I did my other one I laid it underneath, so I actually went under. Maybe I'll do that actually. I'll come over here, go under, and then I'll pop up over here. So if you can see, I've just gone sort of under that other petal. And then I'll lay my little cotton buds next to it, and we'll begin the process of creating the loops. The other benefit of the cotton buds is you're not having to sit your finger on the top of the needle when you're slipping the loops over, so it does perform a few purposes, which is handy. I can just see my loops have got a bit tight, not tightened up, a bit looped over each other, I think. Not sure what's happened there actually. I think I've done a double. Hang on, I'm just going to, if you get a little bit caught up, you can actually just, when you're still doing your looping, you just take all your loops off and start again. So let me do that for you. So I'm still, just got my needle coming through the fabric. Going to put my cotton buds back next to it, or Qtips if you're in the US. So let me know in the comments if you're going to try this out, either as a poppy or some other flower. Once you get going, it's okay. Might look a little bit complicated to begin with, but it's a lovely dimensional flat flower too. I better count 3. Oops. 4, 5, slide them down. Oops. Just going to get that cotton bud down through that one too. bit more thread. We're up to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay. Remove our cotton buds, hold onto our piece, pull our needle and thread through while holding on, and then hold onto our little petal and arrange it into formation where you want it to be. So this one I did arrange under the other petal. So I just need to make sure it's sitting under there nicely. Pull it nice and tight so I get that nice wrinkling effect. And then put a little holding stitch in the end. And then take a look and see if you're happy or whether you think you need any more petals. I'm pretty happy with that one, I think. I think it's got enough petals. So I think we might move on and do the decorating in the centre. So I'll just tie off that last thread. At this point, if you do want to anchor down any other bits, you can, but we'll be doing a centre and we'll be putting in some little black stamens as well. So that will do a bit of anchoring at the centre. Just do another knot just to be sure, Okay, get rid of our, well, not get rid of it, but set aside our javelin needle. And then I will grab, sorry, just bumped the camera with my chin, would you believe it? So next up, I'm going to use some of this beautiful, I'll just put aside my punch needle wool, this beautiful green wool that I got recently from the Kalund Mills artisan spinners. There's a separate video on that. They're just end of rolls, basically, bits they have left over when they've, I guess, done their other productions or test runs or other things. And they are lovely, and it's so soft and beautiful. And it's just the perfect colour for the centre of a poppy. So as you can see, I used that over here. You could do knots. I just did some little stitches across the centre. But I might try some knots here, I don't know. It's not such a big area that I can't just put some little, I'll probably actually just do some stitches across the centre, I think. Just creating a nice little green centre. So I'm just doing some little crossing stitches just to give that nice little hint of green in the centre. I had actually cut a poppy out of some fabric I got just recently from the Sewing Lair online op shop, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be a bit too orange for the piece. But you can see, yeah, poppies have a green centre and then the stamens coming out, so that's the effect I'm aiming to create. Nice thing about wools is they start to give you some nice, yeah, texture and sort of they build up beautifully. And you don't need a lot of it, even though this is just a little, like a little end piece. I've already used, I think I've used that one on a couple of things. Don't know, did I use that colour? No, I think I used a different colour on the Freedom that I stitched in one of my other videos on this piece. So yeah, I'll just do some more little crisscrossy ones just to get a nice centre built up. Here, like that. And then tie that off and we can do some stitches with the black. that green actually with this, because it's probably still a usable piece. Just wrap it around. So good having the drawers next to me now where I can keep all my wools and threads, because it just means they're so accessible both for getting out but for being able to put them back as well. And so then I'll use, this is a punch needle thread, so it's a synthetic and wool, I think, mixed together. Again, I got these from the sewing layer. Love all my vintage haberdashery. And so I'm going to just come through sort of to the center on the outside of where the green is, and then I'm going to just put in some little sort of stitches radiating out. Some of them will even get lost in the actual other petally bits, but these will just be like the little stamens sort of coming out from the center. So I can either come from the center or go into the center, but just want to give that little black effect that you get in the center of poppies. And as I say, it will just help to sort of anchor the petals are anchored down, but it'll just sort of hold the center of those petals quite nicely. It's just a little hint, it's just a bit of detailing. That's what all of this slow stitch is about. It's just adding those little details that give the viewer or yourself, even if you're just, no, I shouldn't say just, if you're the viewer, you'll enjoy those little details that you've added. There you go. So yeah, I just love how the petals, and these make beautiful cards as well for people. So I probably don't need too many more bits of black. I might just put one over here. But otherwise I think that's looking lovely. So there you go. That is two beautiful little poppies that make a beautiful brooch as well. Use it on all sorts of applications, but yeah, really lovely to add to your stitchery, and you can use it to make roses or pansies, all sorts of things. So I'll tie that off, and then I might separate out my two poppies, unless I think I want to leave the piece together. Sometimes when you do something, it's always good before you start cutting just to check if you're still happy with your plan. So I'll put that aside. My punch needle wool back in the drawers as well. And then what do I want to know? I think I'd like them separated out, so I will grab my scissors. Yeah, I think something along those lines would be really, really nice. I think that's going to look really great. Oh, you can't actually see sorry, I'll just have to, might just take you up a smidge more so you can see the flower at the top, because I didn't realise you couldn't actually see that before. So yeah, I think that will be great, and I'll just might need to take you, sorry, a smidge more further up. And yeah, I think that will be a really beautiful little memory piece for my grandpa on my dad's side of the family, and for all who've been in service. Interestingly, my other grandpa, although he served in the war, he didn't really like to talk about it and didn't participate in any of the marches and things. And I think he very strongly didn't believe in the whole premise of war, and very much a pacifist. So I thought I'd keep this piece just for him, but I will remember him as well for his service to Australia too. So yeah, just beautiful having some pieces. I think this piece will be going over. Next up I'm going to work on the piece for my nana with sort of vintage haberdashery, and I think I'll put this piece next to that one. And then I've also got to work on my piece for my granny on my dad's side as well. but I've got all the little bits and components working out, and so yeah, it's coming together really lovely by having gone through my various treasures, kind of grouped them up into their little sections, and then just adding embellishments as I go. So I won't keep you any longer. I'll now proceed, I think, to get this stitched down. I'll probably first of all need to put on the next piece here, and then work out what else is going where. But I will see you back for another video, because I still have a number of other treasure pieces to get done as well. Although, yeah, no hurry for this. This is a big piece, so I think it's one I'll be adding to over time. So I'll just work away at it and share videos as I work on it. Hopefully you're enjoying learning some new techniques and just seeing how it's all coming together. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care. Bye.